Hi there, welcome to the Noah Presgrove case. Today I just wanted to do a focused discussion, which will be important in fairness, because when I think about it, there's been some little reference points here and there about warlike wrath. All one does is look at it from one page or discussion, and it's important, first of all, to highlight what other people say. That should be seen as a form of respect, right? Instead of me just going off on one and just thinking out and just randomly going along, I'm actually taking the time to acknowledge others and give credit to where the source is or some of it came from, because not everybody can do that. But I just wanted to do a bit of a different type of coverage today because, yes, I show my face probably enough, and I probably talk even more, but besides looking at something on screen, which could be considered a script, why not just do it raw like this? Some people like it more raw than others. Welcome to anyone that is currently watching this live premiere. Feel free to share your thoughts and opinions and reactions in the live chat box. You want to drop a comment down below, feel free to do so. That will help with getting more reach and spreading awareness for the case itself. Below will be a pinned message with additional links if you want to support this channel. And big shout out to everyone that has done so over the last month or two, and even besides YouTube elsewhere. It's very positive to see. In terms of my reaction to it when I see it, obviously it's a big positive, but in terms of my mindset, it's not what's the first thing that comes to my mind. Oh, how can I use it? How can I? No. First thought that comes to my mind whenever anything like that does happen, which is obviously positive, is, wow, I'm really on the right track. I must be doing the right thing in a good, positive, natural way. So it kind of just gives more energy to push on. And to put it into perspective, because it's relevant to the case, yeah, you can go round and round and round. It can get a little bit boring about a particular case or a certain story within. I don't get bored as easily as maybe other people, but then again, when I've played video games, completely different, but going round and round in circles, trying to get an objective done, trying to get an item to drop, I didn't get bored of it. I just kept on going until it happened. So does that translate in a case like this? Maybe to a very small extent, but with the acknowledgement from other people as well in recent time, of course, and some key individuals as well. I could reiterate their names, but I don't want to cause any unnecessary focus or darkness their way. But like even a completely different situation like Jan Fiorillo, shout out to them in terms of how, they've been on this channel. Maybe with other people it hasn't gone too well, fair enough, but it's been okay here. And when I come across different people as well, it's been fine. Even coming across Brooke Bounds Carter, how they've presented themselves for most part of it, fine, so I appreciate that. And others with time. It's just because I've got experience with previous cases. It's not some therapy session, or it's not some like TV show where you bring everyone together and then everyone has it out with one another or start arguing. But in terms of the proximity between different people, it can be a war zone elsewhere, but not as much here at times. So it's about breaking it down, slowing it down just a little bit, the pace. Okay. Whilst there could be a lot of inconsistencies within the case, look for the consistencies, or look for some kind of common ground somewhere between opposition and rivals. Just get a little bit more balanced, just to breathe a little bit more and slow things down without it spiraling out of control. Technically, that may have already happened, but you get what I'm saying. To reiterate and refer back to just Facebook post. Now, it doesn't have to always be like that. It can be as it is right now. And talking about the case or particular areas, like the shorts. You can look at a particular event as a whole and question it, or you can look deeper within a particular event and find one little factor which really doesn't add up or make any sense whatsoever, okay? Look at the side by side. Oh, yeah, you could think, well, it's just a side by side. It wasn't the cause of death, as some could say. Not everyone would agree. And then other people could be like, side by side, did it really happen or not? Bit of back and forth tussle, debates and whatnot. Why not look at the detail within the supposed event? Oh, was it recorded? Was it not? No, don't even look at that particular feature of was it recorded or not. Look beyond such as the debacle with a simple seating plan and who was present in the damn vehicle besides Noah Presgrove. If that one little simple thing can't even be resolved, it creates a bit of suspicion. And then you zoom out a little bit and you think, okay then, so was it recorded or not? And if it was, what could that mean? That could create more intrigue. Zoom out a bit more. And then you look at it as a whole and think, you know what, at the end of the day, such a simple event like that, and yet such demanding answers or questions needing answers, and yet nothing being yielded in success. What a mess. What a weird situation with such a simple event in a way. You can apply that with other stuff too. The shorts. Oh, were the shorts removed, changed, added, replaced? Was it by the first wave of truckers or just after that? And after Caden, police guy, volunteer firefighter, recorded supposedly on camera. Have we seen it publicly, the footage? No. Can we be skeptical? You should be allowed to, right? Those that have seen the footage, fair enough when they say that is what it is. If the footage is present and people have seen it, fair enough. You can't force non-viewers to believe in it completely. You can acknowledge it, you can listen. No point dismissing, just listen. But to go all in on it, you have to see it yourself. You have to experience it to an extent, right? I mean, it's like with other cases in the past. There have been times, unfortunately, where no hard evidence was presented at the time. You had to try and believe in it or trust it to an extent, but not completely brainwashed like that. And then with time, maybe it came out officially, police document, court document, it goes a long way. So really the element of trust is a big thing within true crime cases. The trust factor in authority services in real life, the trust and factors of online-based communication, maybe distribution of information and passing it around. And trust has been a major issue within this particular case across all boards. Can it be repaired or fixed? Maybe not amongst one another, but if you have new people coming on in or new factors, fresh face and no conflict of interest, could be rewired to an extent. But to focus in on the shorts as another particular event, you look at it on the outside, looking in as a whole, holistically, that you think, Noah's black shorts, then a pair of white shorts. The story told by Jack Newton could make sense to an extent, but then the story by Caden Pressey could make sense too. But both stories together or in line don't quite mix and there's major conflict. So one's right, one's wrong. Or if you wanted to be really outside of the box, not so much with this, but maybe other things in the case, everybody could be wrong and it's something completely different. What would be an example of that? That, I don't know, I'm not saying that it is, but if there was some kind of vehicle-based death somehow, or if there was somehow, by a chance, a hit and run, but it was not by any of the typical party-goers. It was by someone completely different, a stranger from the party, or a stranger local, or even just a stranger passing on by. Any possibility whatsoever. I guess the same most of the time when it comes to these death situations and true crime, it's high chances that it's someone that you know of that will probably take you out. But could you get it? Wrong place, wrong time for Noah somehow. Well, anything to do along with the highway, if it was just a passerby, it would be hard to believe still based off Noah and his patterns of movement and where he would really go. If it's not something he would normally do, as in going on the highway, then that would be an abnormal factor or a variable which you'd have to compare to the past. There'll still be a chance, but just not a very high one. I think there are certain factors in this case where you could say it's not likely for Noah to do this or do that or go here or go there. But there might be like a 0.001% chance or something that he might have. Does that make sense? Can't completely dismiss it. The time when you can dismiss it is when you've got hard evidence. And that level of hard evidence would have gone a long way if it had been for the cameras. But before we get to that, to reiterate the shorts scenario, zooming in onto it, what do you focus on besides 1 minute black shorts, next minute there's supposedly white shorts, and different stories by two different key people? Zoom in closer. Well, what are we looking at closer up? Whether the shorts were moved or not, whether when Jack went to the scene first time or returned back at some point that a white vehicle ended up driving off and taking shorts with them and leaving new pairs behind. What the hell are we doing here? It's a bit all over the place. All these different, like, well, I don't know if you would call them rumours, suggestions, witnesses, claims, have been arranged into a particular timeline or order, even if it wasn't like a completely true one, a supposed makeshift timeline. There was actually a point in the past when that was done. It's not anymore. I remember it on Reddit, but it might have been posted on Facebook in the first place. There was like a really, early makeshift timeline, which may not be true now because it's out of date and things have changed. But if you had more of that, I know I could do it myself, but one of the factors as to why it's not truly happened is because there's not enough timestamps. There are more events and more rumours of events than there is actual timestamps. And, I'm not saying that we have to have the main official timestamps. If you just had a timestamp, I know it sounds desperate, even if you had a made up one, an estimated time of when something actually happened or was before or just after another event, order it out. Even this, well, you can't really call it simple, to be honest, but the party footage, simply arranging that into the correct order. What does that do if we've seen all of the public party footage? Well, we haven't seen all of the public party footage because depending where it's from or who's got what, there is supposedly other public party footage out there, but it's just not all together in one place. An example, and I can't remember who mentioned it, but credit to them, it could be Beth or it could be someone else that made a reference to Kaylee's channel that just so happened to do a video with the clip of Carter Combs and Shane D Saturday, where Carter Combs ends up punching a bit of wood or some cardboard, whatever. It's not a big deal, but it's a perspective of the party from different people, from different angles, with different things in the background. And in all fairness, I probably should do a video about that. I'm just kind of concerned that would it lead to any unfortunate copyright issues or any pettiness from the past. Of course, credit would be given to the channel who got a hold of that footage, but I just don't know if things will go wrong for me, right? Maybe I'll take it into consideration somehow. I mean, we looked at the photos not long ago, the tile ones on that Facebook post, and I said, wait, I've never seen it from that angle. I've never seen it that clear before. Well, I can get a hold of it now. Okay, credit to the individual that made a reference. Get a screenshot maybe. Look at the shed in the background, possibly. All these different events, you look closer within, zoom in, find another factor or variable. If you can't, zoom in more to the core and pick something out that doesn't make sense. Then zoom out, pick the next thing that doesn't quite make sense and see how much that doesn't truly make sense within this case. Because at the end of the day, you can leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. How much makes sense within this case and how much doesn't whatsoever. A lot what you could be resting on or hoping upon for this to link and that to link and that to make sense would be Caden Press's timeline. But if Caden Press's timeline, by some unfortunate chance, was somewhat wrong or, it got a little bit unstable, it has such a major knock-on effect with all the other supposed events onwards, whether it be told by Caden himself or told by other people, which just happen to align with Caden's timeline or at least make more sense with his compared to Jack's, right? I mean, an example, linking back to the shorts, removal of them supposedly by some people, authorities. Off duty, on duty, but not like an official call made in earlier on, right? Hopefully you get what I'm saying. And that supposedly happens, and it's supposedly recorded. And there'll supposedly be a time which was never revealed, which is interesting. People talk about a supposed piece of footage along the highway, people mention details. And when I say people, who's that? Well, it could be people online, Caden Pressey himself in that private interview, the police one, right? 2024, June, that particular one. Maybe, I don't know if Alicia Lee has made heavy reference to it, but that aside, some key individuals have been, talking about it. But you know what's interesting? From what Caden Pressey says, from what he has seen or witnessed, I believe from Kathy Bingham in that footage to some extent, at least how it's been worded in the private interview at least, right? Removal of shorts. Yes, removal of shorts, but not being replaced onto the body with the white ones, and no mention of the white shorts being put in the middle of the road. But that's what did happen, and that's what Tyler Hardy and Tyler H saw 5:53 onwards. Something went wrong. Something's a bit odd. But even though Caden Pressey is talking about it himself, and like what the discussions what we had in recent time and on Facebook, wouldn't it be considered, I'm no expert, but wouldn't it be considered hearsay what Caden states, and even in that police interview? Because he was not a witness. He was not there at the time of when the shorts were being removed. He is just simply talking based on what he's witnessed through a piece of hard evidence. Does that make sense? So would it have to track back to the person that actually recorded it at the scene themselves, who witnessed it and then recorded it as well as proof and evidence? So what anyone else says after that, even if they've been shown a video, but if they mention it elsewhere, and even with the police, it's just hearsay. Is that how it be? Would that apply to Caden Pressey? What Caden Pressey states about this highway footage, it's hearsay only because it's not directly from the horse's mouth of who was behind the camera. If the person behind the camera came onto a show or did an interview or with police, whether the video clip was directly shown publicly or not, then it would be more believable and people would nod their heads more, right? I don't want to get too deep, but there's issues, okay? There might be some events that took place which may show so much happening, but not the rest after it. But people are claiming that what happened after it is linked with what's recorded in the video, but it's hard to link when you don't see the full piece. So if you got a highway piece of footage here, you got a piece of footage at the house outside the porchway also with Carter and Avery, sisters, arguing with one another, likely over Noah leaving the house, but not in terms of the death news. Puts it into perspective. You want to understand whether Noah truly walked away or not. CCTV cameras would go a long way, but they weren't working. Failure makes everything so much harder and beyond. Next best option, in a way, well, I guess you could say Avery, Carter having a go at one another, if it's to do with that particular theme of Noah. Trying to listen into the conversations, the blame game, who's at fault, who did wrong. Oh, that's the reason why Noah walked off and that's why he went over there. But any extra details as for the direction or distance, just bits and bobs like that, never released public. If there really is a video of Carter and Avery arguing on the front porch, who recorded it and why? Out of all the other supposed arguments which happened, which were never recorded, why was this particular one recorded? Why can't it be shown public? Is it because it paints people in a bad way? Is it because of legal issues? Is it because it could harm the case? If certain elements like that, and that's why it's restricted, then it must mean that it's an important piece of video and it was an important argument that took place in regards to leading up to Noah's death, possibly, right? So when you look at a piece of material or supposed evidence and you're not quite in grasp of it, you can look, but you can't touch. Well, in this case, you can't do either. You just got to imagine, you got to sense that it's somewhere. You have to try and sense it in here. There's only so many senses you can use, really, for that. But zoom in on just that theme, the variables and the factors of, right, if it really does exist, but it's not public, well, it's got to be something important, right? And if not, well, then Maybe it's just a lie and that's why there's no video footage existing out there. You can apply that back and forth with the different clips of material and possibly hidden party footage. I know people like to go on about phones and data and videos, factory reset and so on and so on and so on. It sounds silly, but do we have hard evidence and proof of that happening? I know Justin Roy goes on about it a lot, or has done in the past. I'm guessing Justin Roy says that because that's what his family of family told him. Those family of family of Justin that was at the party. You'd be thinking that Justin's family of family and those married into the Millans that were down at the party, names unknown, ages unknown, it is what it is. But they witnessed other partygoers deleting stuff off their devices. That's where it has to come from. Because if it doesn't come from Justin's family who attended it as comes almost like witnesses, then how else would Justin Roy know? Of course, Justin Roy won't mention every detail, and like in regards to people he knows of and those that were at the party, out of respect for privacy and safety and all that. Okay, fair enough. And I know some people could say, well, that's not right, or that's annoying, it's restrictive, we're not getting the full focus, it's been teased and this and that. But then you got to understand from the other side that when it comes to opposition and how they've handled stuff, and family or friends of friends cooperating in the background, but on the public surface level, not the same way, not as smooth, not as polished. It happens. Different reasons for different actions or lack of action on the public level. But still, the shorts, what I like to focus in on there, if I was to zoom in on what makes sense and what doesn't, I would be looking at the fact that I don't give a damn what colour those shorts are. I don't give a damn if those shorts were like removed or not. When it comes to where they were found at, that is the main issue. That they were supposedly found in the middle of the road. Why the hell would that be the case? Middle of the highway, more so. So, and the condition that they were in, kind of a level of freshness without too much damage as well. And we didn't hear any direct references about, like, such as with the white ones, heavy damage or heavy marks on it. They weren't described as completely fresh, but no visible, like, true marks on it. So how long have they been there for? Well, you based off the time of death, could you link that in, and the traffic and timing of that and the distance? And there's a lot to measure and take in mind, but I just wanted to throw it in there brief. But still, the fact that a pair of shorts are in the middle of the roadway when they should have been on Noah's body, because even if it was a hit and run, shorts don't just fly off like that. Shoes might in hit and run, but shorts don't. In a murder situation, do shorts end up in the middle of the road and you end up on the side? Not really so much that either. It seems more likely that if they were to be replaced or taken away or somehow adjusted and then thrown into the air when you're in a rush and you don't know what to do with them, oh, just chuck them about, whatever. Oh, my phone's nearby, oh, just leave it behind because I'm in a rush, I've got to be somewhere. Not quite thinking clearly in the moment. Rash decisions. Enough to lead to a new lead. Doesn't seem to be the case, but I think if you look at the short situation, how I did there, you might see it in a different light. And that applies to other things too. I think what I'll do is I'll leave it there for now. A bit abrupt, I know, but just because of timing and everything. Maybe I can do more raw videos like this in the future, providing there's a certain theme or context. There's supposedly an interesting post on Facebook which I can check out another time and acknowledge, but I just wanted to do a more personal video like this. If you did enjoy it, feel free to hit the like button and share, and that'll be much appreciated. My name's Wallite Raff. I'll see you next time. Goodbye. Good night for now.